F1 drivers have always talked about IndyCar. Like, I know there's a quote from Schumacher saying about why would he do it, because it's beneath F1. But I love that, Romain Grosjean, because Formula One's ultimately it's going to be about the car as well.
Yeah.
And I think they underestimate how important that is. But when you see like Romain come over, and it wasn't easy, and he's one of the fastest guys I think in a good car on his day in F1. But it would be good to see some crossover, because I think it's got to the point where Formula One's unattainable for most drivers. And I think that now you're seeing actually some of the best drivers land in IndyCar. Yep. And the competition every year. And that is, as a fan, is one of the most impressive things over 21 seasons, to go from what you did in Champ Car against Bourdais and all those days, and then to be now at Penske for so long. 2 years ago, you won the championship, still winning races more than the guy who won the championship. So, yeah, I reckon it'd be cool to see some crossover of guys going into F1 and really show that IndyCar is actually, it's got some of the best drivers in the world. I mean, Scotty Mack, I rate as now one of the fastest guys that I've competed against, and and I've raced against a lot of the guys in Europe as well, as have you, I'm sure, in your junior careers.
Yeah, IndyCar has a huge presence of guys that went through the full ladder system over there, F4, F3, F2, and like you say, it's almost impossible to get in Formula One now. Very, very difficult. Very difficult. And so a lot of them are landing over here in IndyCar, and the field has become incredibly young. Or maybe I've got old. I'm not sure which one it is. But, yeah, I mean, I'm racing against guys. I'm 20 years older than them. It's crazy. But yeah, it is a great spot for someone in Europe to land. Like, it's, I went through F3 and World Series by Renault over there, Renault 3.5. And next step for me was either pay another $1 million to do GP2, or you've got this offer to run Champ Car and get paid.
Yeah.
So do I stay in Europe and rack up a bill with maybe getting Formula One if you're lucky, or start getting paid? Like, you had to make that decision. And at some point you got to make the jump. But I think IndyCar is a very good spot for that. It's a great series. The driver pays are very good now. The highest I've seen all my time over here, and a lot of teams with big money as well. Like, a lot of very good teams, a lot of good spots, and you have a great career. So I think Europe's lucky to have IndyCar. Like, how many F2, F3, F2 drivers, and they're all bloody good. Like, the top 10 of F2 is seriously good drivers that end up with, end up with nothing. I think they're lucky to have a place like that to go. I felt like I was lucky to end up in Champ Car.
Yeah.
Like, what was I going to do? Spend all this time in open wheel. As you don't get into Formula One, it's either sports car or go home and run supercars. But you've built this skill of driving open wheels. It was just such a pity.
Yeah.
So I feel like these F2 guys are lucky to have a place like that to go. And and you talk to them, they love it. They love the racing. It's a very enjoyable series too. I say, like, of all the series in the world, the satisfaction you get out of racing IndyCar, you rarely finish a race saying that was sort of dull or boring. It's always so much action and weird stuff happening in that series, and then you're racing short ovals, one or two super speedways. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of some of the super speedways we used to do. I mean, it's bloody nuts.
Yeah.
But Indy's obviously its own event. But the oval mix is really cool as well. Like, you're getting a very nice mix of ovals, some flat 1 mile ovals and high banked short ovals, and the variety you get over a season in IndyCar is incredible.
Yeah.
The variety of sort of racing you do, there's nothing else in the world like it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's good to watch. I think I've enjoyed as well seeing the guys that we respect so much go over and have a tough time though on the ovals, because that's giving credit to turning left, and that's why it's interesting to hear about the jacker and what you're doing in the car and staying on top of those things, and about the feel, because that's another one we hate hearing is how it's just turning left. It must be easy. So. Yeah, I think that would have been, I imagine, a big transition as well for you. Was it when Champ Car rejoined back with IRL, and you had to go do ovals? Was that a steep learning curve back then?
It was a very uncomfortable, steep learning curve, but somewhat easy, which made it really dangerous. Because the formula that we had, we go to these super speedways and you drive out of the pits wide open and on the white line, short line, and that was it. That's the weekend, man. And I just thought this is stupid. It was, you could have your grandma running on your right rear, man, like just running with you. It was that easy.
Right.
So I really disliked the formula, and that slowly changed after a couple of terrible accidents, to a place where it was once again difficult, and you had to have the car really right, uh, and it wasn't just wide open. And it just, pack racing for Indy cars it just wasn't. It's sort of a product of the series splitting in the mid '90s. And when they formed the IRL, you had a lot of guys that probably shouldn't have been there, some guys, and I think they just made it easy not to crash cars and cost teams a lot of money because all the
Yeah.
teams were new. As they're trying to get car count up, and in some ways it was spectacular to watch. That this is crazy, and some of the action was good. But when you're in the middle of that,
Yeah.
and you see some of the nasty accidents, you're like, oh, what are we doing?
Just
But
strapped to a rocket ship
it's
that's
yeah,
glued to the road until it's not glued anymore.
yeah, exactly. That is ovals. I would say, like, if you turned up to Indianapolis and you've got a good car and you don't have much experience, you'll be quick, you'll be good. The thing is that running in dirty air and where to place a car, or when you do just get a gust of wind or the wrong buffet of air, it just snaps on you like that. Like you're just in the water. It's almost not correctable. Like when I
Mm.
crashed in the race last year, it cooled off and the car got loose, and I just turned into one. And I didn't. You watch mine, but I don't even correct. I'm just like, it's over.
Gone.
You're not catching this thing.
Yep.
It's done unless you paddle a wall. That is the most incredible. That guy, I've never seen that in an Indy car. He
I
actually
saw that as
two
well.
big moments, and then actually spun up on throttle. But for the most part, you're crashing, man. It's like that's that sort of. I would say the weird thing about ovals is you can't drive around a bad car. You just can't. So the skill in it is really knowing what the car needs and relaying that to the engineer
Mm-hmm.
and being able to make those adjustments in the car. I think that's the biggest thing that I learned, when I became good at ovals was always trust your ass. Like, if you feel like, because you feel like, sometimes you feel like, oh man, I'm such a wanker. I'm just scared of the car. Like I'm scared to go fast.
Yeah.
But it's, the car's not lying to you. It is saying like, yeah, the thing is moving, and you don't feel comfortable for a reason. You can't get locked into it, and because in the early days, I just feel, I'm just not brave enough. I'm not, I'm just, I'm scared of the car. But if you're scared of the car is not good.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because when the car's good on an oval, you feel amazing. It's just, it's a real thrill, but it's the worst day of your life when that thing goes loose and you can't get locked in the thing. Oh man, it's terrible. Like and you kind of don't know how much to lift either. It's really hard to find that limit. It's not an obvious limit. It's not a progressive, it's not a progressive slide like the car's telling you what it's doing. It's just like, I can tell that if I put any more lock, it's probably going to snap, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's quite an awkward feeling. Yeah. The IndyCar in particular, because I reckon a NASCAR probably tells you a lot of what it's doing. Like it has probably a lot of movement before it goes and a
Yeah.
bit more slip angle. Indy with all that, a very hard sidewall tire because it's got to be able to deal with the load, and um, you know, uh, all this aero is lost as you start putting yaw in the car. You got the floor,
Yeah.
you got the wings, everything's meant to be going somewhat straight. So yeah, she goes bad pretty quick.
They are scary. They're scary to watch. I mean,
yeah.
that was why I was surprised. I think that McLaughlin made the jump across to IndyCar because I had heard his dad, because he'd done no open wheeler racing in his career, and I had heard his dad didn't want him to do Formula Ford for safety reasons, and then to go over and do some of those ovals, that's got to be the scariest thing, to strap yourself in and do that for the first time. Unbelievable.
I was going to say, I remember he that year, what was it? I think it was his first Indy, and I'm like looking at his setup, and I was like, oh man, you're driving it loose. I could see his steering, you're driving it loose. I said, no, I'm comfortable, man. And I think I said it to my wife. I'm like, it's gonna get caught, man. That's the thing with those. Until you've had a shunt, that's your limit. It doesn't
Yeah.
tell you.
Hmm.
And like, I think he'd been in traffic for a bit. And then when I saw that shunt, I was like, yeah, you can drive here or you can drive there. It's like that little amount, like how loose do you want to go? Um, yeah, you can always tell the guys who've been around, they never let it get to that point. But uh, yeah, it was good though. It was impressive. He was doing it all month. He hung on to it even in the race. I was like, yeah, he was. And then yeah, it eventually bites you. But yeah, it's a fine line, man. A very fine line.